Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So we are now continuing on the dot product and if 2 points are perpendicular. So if two vectors are perpendicular. So if two vectors are perpendicular, then their dot product is equal to 0. A dot B should be equal to 0. So each and every time you want to test whether or not two vectors are perpendicular, it means to say their dot product is equal to 0. So therefore, let's say we have vectors such as, so let's say we have this problem and they say test whether they are perpendicular. So if two vectors, so test whether x and y are perpendicular. So how do you test whether x and y are perpendicular? So this is very simple. So in order for you to test, you must be able to know to say their dot product should be equal to 0. So you're going to say x dot your y should be equal to 0. If this gives you this, it means to say it is perpendicular. If not, then it is not perpendicular. So the two vectors are not perpendicular. So let's say, for example, you say your 3i, then we have plus j. So we have our, let's find our x dot y. So this should be equal to the vector for x. The vector for x is equal to, we have a 3i, then we have plus j, then we have minus 2k, like that. We multiply it with the one for y, which is equal to our I minus j, then plus k. So how we multiply them, just in case you haven't watched the previous video, kindly be able to comment so that I forward you the link. So we are going to multiply the ones with I, in other words. So as long as we have 3i, we are going to multiply it with the only one that has I. So 3i times 3i, it will just be a 3. Our j, then we go to this one, j times negative j. This one will be equal to a negative, since negative times positive is negative, j dot j is equal to positive 1, like that. Then last but not the least, this negative 2, let it multiply the k there. It will be negative 2 times k, it will be minus 2, like that. Then we are going to have our 3 minus negative 1 minus 2 will give us negative 3, like that. So 3 minus 3 will give us 0. So our x dot y gives us a 0, like that. Then you will conclude to say, since our x dot y is equal to 0, then it is perpendicular. So this is how we deal with two vectors that are perpendicular. Let's try another one. Let's say we have this. Let's also test whether they are perpendicular. So you're going to say your a dot of b should be equal to so your a dot b should be equal to 0 if they are perpendicular. So if that's the case, we are going to say we know that a dot b will be equal to, our vector for a is our 2i minus j, then we have plus k, like that. Open another bracket. Right for b, we have I plus 4j, then we have minus 2k, like that. So that's this one. Multiply the one with I. 2i times I, it will be a 2. Then our negative j times 4, it will be a negative 4. J times j is 1. So, and finally, our k times 2k, it will be a negative 2, like that. So this will give us, we know that our negative 2 minus 2, okay, we have positive 2, negative 4 minus 2 gives us negative 6. So 2 minus 6 gives us negative 4. So this is what our a dot b is. So we are going to say, since our a dot of b is not equal to 0, then the two vectors are not perpendicular. Are not perpendicular. So let's say the question, if P is equal to this, Q is equal to this, are perpendicular, find the value of X. So how do we do this one? So immediately they have already told you to say they are perpendicular. It means to say you can be able to use the concept of your vector of P dot the vector of Q. This should give you a 0 like that. So if we multiply them, we know that our P is that. So therefore we can write our equation like this. So our P dot Q should be equal to, we are going to put, what is our P? It is equal to 2I minus J plus our 3K like that. Then another bracket, it will be our I, then we have plus X, J, then we have plus a 2 over 3, then we have our K like that. So what we are going to do is, we know to say P dot Q is equal to 0. So there, where there is P dot Q, we put 0. So we can put our 0 should be equal to, we have our 2I minus our J, then we have plus 3 like that, 3K. Another bracket, we are having I, then we have plus XJ, then we have plus our 2 over 3, then we have our K like that. Therefore, this will give us, let's multiply our 2I times I like that. So let these having the same letters only multiply. So we have 2I times I. This one will just give us a 2. Then let this one with J multiply the one with J. So our negative J times our X there, it will be negative X, since J times J will give us 1. Then we are going to have finally our 3 times our 2 over 3. So let's just write this. We have plus our 3 times our 2 over 3. Since our K times K will give us 1. So we are going to get a 2 minus X. Then we have plus this 3 and this 3 cancels. So we are going to remain with a positive 2 there. So this should be equal to 0 like that. So when we add, so we have 0, 2 plus 2 will give us 4. Then we have minus X. Taking the X this side, we are going to have positive X. Since the sign will change, should be equal to 4. So that means to say the X is equal to 4. So that is how you find the value of those. So that's it for perpendicular, two vectors that are perpendicular. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you would like, subscribe, and share for more.